Welcome back to another episode of the Draw Control Podcast. On today's episode, I welcome back North Carolina women's lacrosse player Kiley Mottice. This past season, Kiley started in all 22 games and served as a team captain as she tallied 30 goals and 5 assists for 35 points while adding 23 ground balls and 17 caused turnovers to help the Tar Heels win the 2025 national championship. I'm super excited to have her back on the podcast. So, Kylie, thank you so much for coming back on. And how is everything going?
Of course, thanks for having me. Yeah, everything's been going good. After we won, I've just been home doing a bunch of coaching, which has been great. But yeah, I've just been hanging out, playing lacrosse and coaching.
Nice. Well, obviously, it's been like a month and a half since you guys won that game. Has it like fully sunk into you yet that you accomplished that goal? And how have you been like reflecting on that moment since it happened?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm still in a little bit, not of shock, but like just like more, it's a lot more surreal, I would say. Yeah, I think the entire season and just leading up to the national championship, our team is just like this year was full of joy. And I think that is something that like fans and coaches like easily saw on the field. And I think the more that I've been thinking about it, that is just something that I know I and the rest of the team want to continue this next year, just making sure our team is just full of joy whenever we play. That is just like who we are as a team, and it showed out there on the field, and it was a big reason that allowed us to push through all the hard moments during the season and just continue pushing for the goal of winning a natty, which we were able to do, which was pretty awesome.
What's been like the coolest thing you've gotten to do since winning the championship? Have you met anyone? Have you gotten to like throw out the first pitch somewhere? I've seen some of your teammates do fun stuff, so I don't know if you've had the chance to do anything.
Not much, not as cool as that, but I think a cool thing that we got to do as a team was when we got back home right off of the plane. I think we landed at like maybe 9 o'clock in Chapel Hill. We took the bus right to the bell tower, which was lit up Carolina blue, which is like a big tradition at UNC for whenever there's a big win, big championship, the bell tower gets lit blue. So I think that was maybe our first time in a couple years, being able to like be the reason it's blue. So that was a cool experience for all of us to be there and have that.
Nice. Well, overall, let's talk about your off season a little bit. How has that been going for yourself? Have you been doing anything interesting, whether it's lacrosse related or not?
Yeah, I've been playing a bunch. We have a group in Philly that all plays together, and so we've been having that a bunch, which has been good. Fun to be able to see all my other friends at different schools and play with them. Yeah, as I said, been coaching a bunch, and I've been able to see a bunch of my teammates and roommates up in New York, so that was a fun time to be able to see them. Especially because we all live a little bit further from one another. But yeah, not too exciting, but just having fun. So,
That's good. That's good. Coaching, is that something you want to do after you graduate? Have you been thinking about that?
I'm not sure. I think it would be a cool opportunity for sure. I definitely do love to coach and be able to help other girls and just like share with them all the knowledge that I've learned the past 3 years. I think that's a very cool experience and I'm very lucky to be able to give back in that way.
Yeah, nice. Well, obviously, hopefully you see some future Tar Heels at some of those camps, and that'll be cool to watch them in the years down the road.
Yes, definitely.
Now, what are some things that you've been working on this summer to get ready for fall ball coming up?
Yeah, I've been focusing a bunch on just more of defensive, like my footwork and everything like that, and just continuing to work on shooting from like different areas of the field, not necessarily like just in the middle, but more outside shooting, down low, just all over to make sure I have like all my tools really sharpened to go into the year and into the fall just as good as I can.
Well, let's sort of go back now and to the start of the season and sort of work our way up through the regular season into the Final Four. So, well, obviously, last season was obviously a disappointing year for your team standards, and I felt like a lot of that was because of the injuries that your team faced. So at the start of fall ball, how did your team sort of build chemistry with obviously the freshmen and the returning players from injury? And was there anything your team, I guess, learned from last year and talked about from last year that you think helped you guys as you started the season?
Yeah, I think something we did this fall, I think our team had a bunch of conversations just about where we wanted to be, who we wanted to be this year, and being able to talk about that and really like dive into everything that happened last season really helped us to get a vision of like what we wanted for the future. And along with that, I think being able to have those conversations and really talk about like obviously none of us wanted to be back where we were last year, and that I think lit a fire under every single person, whether they were injured, whether they were on the field. I think all of us just had one view, and no matter if you played or if you didn't, everybody was still saying the same thing about, the name across our chest and how poor we did last year. And I think all of us just wanted to not even show everyone else, but like prove to ourselves and the rest of the country that, we are a great team. And obviously, it was unfortunate the amount of injuries we had last year, but it taught us a lot of things. And I think it really led a lot of our underclassmen to become leaders this past year and step into a leadership role, not only leading themselves, but leading others on the team.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about this last year when we had you on, and one of the things that we talked about was the jump that you made between your freshman and sophomore year and how you sort of dealt with changing positions. And I want to ask this season, how did you work on becoming more of a versatile player? Because watching you play, I noticed that you improved a lot on the defensive side of the ball, limiting your turnovers while causing a lot of turnovers and getting those ground balls. Would you consider that the biggest improvement you made to your game this past year, just your versatility and defense?
Yeah, I definitely think my defensive skills grew a lot this past year, and that is a huge credit to all of our coaches. And we spent a lot of time, as a team. Our team was like very, very good at staying after practice and like working on the things we needed to do. And I think that was like a huge sentiment of our team that allowed myself as well as a bunch of other players to grow in all those positions. And I think once again, just all of our players were very just like open and willing to like help every single person on the field. And I know B-Dubs and Sam, Ellie, all of our defenders obviously helped me as well as all of our middies just continue to sharpen those skills that, they spend all practice doing, and they bring us along and they're like, hey, try this instead like this. Like I just did the same thing as you, but like this works a lot better. So being able to like have those conversations really helped us, um, and helped myself grow as a team.
Yeah, I've said this on the podcast many times. I feel like your team's defense doesn't get as much credit as it deserves because looking at the statistics, you guys only allowed more than 9 goals 3 times all season. I want to ask, what does your team do in practice to work on your defense? What are some drills that you guys do and sort of improve upon those skills? I don't want you to reveal all the secrets in case anyone's listening, but if there's any insight you can give on that, that would be really cool to hear.
Yeah, I think honestly the biggest thing is just who we play against. We're playing against the best attackers in the country, and it's just our every single person on our team is extremely competitive, and that just allows us to take all those like whether it's like a footwork drill or like small 1v1s or 2v2s, like it takes all of those drills to the next level. None of us are just like going through the motions and all right, it's a 2v2, like let's get through practice. No, it's like, all right, I'm playing against Chloe, like I'm stopping her here. I'm playing against Caroline, she's not gonna get this shot off. Like those type of competitiveness is just who our team is, and it really allowed each and any all of us to, sharpen our iron. And I think Jenny always just says like iron sharpens iron, and that is just completely who we are. And that allowed our defense to really step up this year and produce on the field. And it's because of every single attacker that we play against during practice. So
Now, your team went undefeated this past year, which is really hard to do, obviously. So, how did your team sort of maintain its consistency during the regular season, but also handle the pressure of being a top ranked team with a target on your back because everyone wants to beat you guys, it feels like.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think anybody on our team really focused on being undefeated. I don't think any of us really like realized that until after the national championship, which seems like crazy, but we did a really good job of just focusing on game to game instead of the big picture. You know, we focused on the opponent in front of us and we gave we never overlooked any of the opponents we played, and I think that's what allowed us to succeed so much this season was we respected every single team we played and we knew that no matter what, we were each and every one of us had a job to do and we're going to do that job individually and collectively, and that's what really allowed us to have the year that we did.
Now, one of the highlights of the season was when your team beat Boston College to win the ACC championship for the first time in your playing career. What did winning that trophy mean to you? And just talk about what was like playing BC this year and the rivalry that your teams have built over the season, because those were always, in my opinion, the most fun games to watch whenever your two teams went at it.
Yeah, I mean, they are obviously a great team and we all just like look forward to those games because it's just going to be a hard fought battle no matter what. And I I mean winning the ACC was incredible. Obviously, like you said, like it was many people on our team's first ACC championship or just championship in general. And being able to win that was just huge for our team because I think it just once again just gave us like another level of confidence of like we can do this. Like we beat them once, we beat them again, and as long as we like continue to do all of our jobs on the field, like we have everything that we need. And that's the truth. And yeah, I mean it was awesome playing them both times, and the games are always so much fun just because they're close and you're fighting for every possession, and that's just why you play the game, for those tight games against huge rivals. So,
Now, after winning that championship, what was your team's mindset heading into the national tournament for this season?
yeah, I think once again, as I said before, it was just game by game. Our coaches did a really good job of just like constantly reminding us, like we're you're not at the final four yet. You're not at the quarterfinal yet. We have a lot of time. We have many games to be able to get to the point that everybody wants to get to. So I think just focusing on the next game in front of us, whether that was Clemson or Princeton, just seeing what's in front of us, really doing a good job of scouting those teams and preparing each and every one of us. And I think just we all were reminded day in and day out that like we can do this. We have confidence in one another. We have confidence in ourselves, and that allowed us to really succeed this year.
Let's talk about that first tournament game as you guys played Clemson. I want to ask, were there any challenges of playing a team that you already played twice already? And what were the adjustments that your team had to make in that game that led you guys to score 18 goals on them again? Because they're one of the best defensive teams in the ACC.
Yeah, it's definitely like it's a hard thing to do to be able to play a team three times and beat them. And obviously, we knew that the opponent in front of us was very good. And I think we once again did a really good job of scouting defensively um the players on the field, and like as you continue to play them it gets a lot easier to like know the tendencies, but even in that case like you still have to adjust whether that's like sending the slide a little bit later or only sending it to certain people um just to like help us really change what they're throwing at us and just like disrupting their offense. And then offensively we kind of went in and out of like a couple different offensive zone sets. And like there was some times where they face guarded Ashley, so then we rotated like where people were in the zone to compensate for that. But I think yeah, we did a good job of just continuing to like focus on the little things during that game because especially in zones, it's like super easy to like, okay, like I see someone in the middle, like someone's open, like let's feed it right away. And um not necessarily like just feed it, but like, okay, we're coming down, like we can score, just like those type of moments. And I think everybody on the field did a really good job of like staying settled, and Ashley Caroline, all of our attackers, Chloe, they did a really good job of just maintaining like a calmness that allowed all of us on the attacking end to just like take our time and really look for the best option, not always the first.
After that win, you guys then faced Princeton in the quarterfinals. And watching that game, it seemed like your team was struggling to sort of maintain attacking possession with some offensive turnovers, but then you sort of figured it out in the second quarter, scoring 19 goals and punching your ticket to the Final Four. I just want to ask, would you say was that like an accurate assessment of the game, and what did you take away from that win overall? Because Princeton was sort of a team that I think a lot of people didn't expect to be in the Elite Eight, but obviously they proved a lot of people wrong with their really good attackers like Mackenzie Blake and a really strong defense as well.
Yeah, they were a very good team, and I think that is a pretty accurate assessment. I think our team this year definitely, as like we were definitely a younger group, so we and most of us like hadn't been at that stage really yet in our careers. So everyone, I think we would get like a little like flustered in the first quarter, and it would take us like a little bit to like truly settle in. And I think once we just like focus on being where our feet are and being in the game and like not worried about like past possessions or anything like that, that allowed us to like start our offensive attack, just like really get into a groove. And that is once offenses like just like start getting into a groove, it's definitely hard to stop. And I think we did a good job of like never letting up and just continuing to get stops on defense, which allowed us to have those possessions on offense.
Was it cool that a Carolina alum was the coach of Princeton going against her former coach? Like, was that in the back of your mind in that game? And were you trying to like win that one for Coach Levy?
Yeah, it was definitely very cool, I'm sure, especially for Jenny and her. It was just like an incredible experience because I think it might have been like 20 or something years since like we've last played Princeton. So it was definitely a cool experience for both of them and for us too, even though she went to Carolina, still got to beat them. So just doing that for Jenny and for everyone. So it was very cool.
I did want to ask you what your thoughts were on the Elite Eight games being played on a Thursday. Maybe, I don't know if this happens all the time because I'm sort of a newer lacrosse fan, but some of these games were at 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. in the afternoon, and I felt like it was hard for fans to watch and go to these games. And personally, I feel like it would benefit women's lacrosse if they had the Eight games on a Saturday along with the men. Do you think that should change? I'm just curious if you guys thought about that or talked about that at all.
Yeah, I think it definitely should change because, as you said, like it's very hard for fans to get to a 1 o'clock game on a Thursday, or even watch it. Most people are either at school, at work. And so I think being able to have a game, whether that's you have the boys game on Saturday and we play Sunday, whatever, just giving us like the opportunity to have like that weekend game or maybe have one team play Friday at 7 and then the other teams play Saturday just to like help us to be able to have more fans tuned in and watching and help to grow the game a lot more would definitely be helpful for everyone. So
Now, you guys played the Final Four at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. Talk about the Final Four experience off the field. What was it like being at Gillette and the cool red carpet your experience, your team got, and all that other stuff? It looked like a lot of fun, and I hope that they continue to put it at like bigger venues like that.
yeah, I mean, it was incredible. Being able to be in Gillette in like such a huge stadium was awesome for all of us. And obviously, we have a bunch of people from New England, so it's definitely very cool for them to play in the Patriot Stadium, which they loved. And I think just being able to have the event in such a professional, place was very cool for all of us because we were able to like be practice like on their practice fields and be in the locker rooms and all of that. And I think yeah, as the game continues, I think being able to have events in stadiums like that, not only is it very cool for the teams, but I think it also brings a lot of draw for fans to go to those games and go to those stadiums to see us play. And yeah, I mean, the Final Four was just like incredible for my team. And I think the small moments of like being off the field or like the practices before, um, those small moments in the hotels or like things like that really just what stuck out to me in my like memories of the Final Four, just because those are the moments and memories that like you make that truly do last a lifetime outside of just the games.
Well, I know you're a Philly girl, but the Final Four will be in Philly in 2 years. I know you won't be there for that, but at least you can maybe watch your team in your hometown.
I know. I was hoping it would be there next year, but that's okay.
Hey, Chicago's still a fun city, so hopefully you guys get there as well.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about the Final Four games that you played. So in the semifinal game, your team played Florida and won 20-4, but it's hard to believe that your team was down 4-0 in the first quarter. What was the message to your team after you're down that allowed you guys to sort of get on that run and win that game? And obviously you played them earlier in the season, so you knew some of their like tendencies as well. It wasn't sort of like a typical non-conference Final Four game.
Yeah, I know defensively, Kayla called us all in and was like, all right, everyone, just take a deep breath. We're fine. You got all the bad stuff out right away, which is good, get it out early and just settle into the game, do what we know we can all do, and just like remember all the things that like we scouted and talked about. And I think once we like had that conversation and then we all went back out on the field, everyone was just like a lot more connected. And I think we needed that, especially in that moment, just because of how big of a stage we were on. And as I said before, none of us really only, I think, B-Dubs. Um, was the only one that like played her freshman year in the Final Four and in the Natty. So having like a bunch of young girls, that was super helpful for us to just kind of like take a deep breath and settle in. And on the offensive end, Marie like similarly did the same. And we also had conversations on the field and we were just like, all right, we're fine. We're getting shots off. We just need to finish them and we'll be okay. And I think that those like small messages really allowed us to just get into the groove of the game and finish our shots and just settle in.
Obviously, you then played Northwestern in the final where you won the national championship. What emotions were you going through after winning that game? And I guess my other question is, how'd you game plan against Madison Taylor and Delaney Switzer, who are two of the best players in the country? Obviously, I think that was the first time Madison Taylor hadn't scored a goal in a game since like her freshman year, and Delaney was incredible in that game. That game would could have been a lot more. There could have been a lot more goals scored if she didn't make some of those incredible saves. So. What's it like as an attacker from attacking standpoint going up against a good goalie like that?
Yeah, I mean, Delaney is a phenomenal goalie, and I'm lucky enough to like play against her a bunch in the summer. So I have had my fair share of shooting against Delaney, but she played lights out that game. And I think as an attacker, it's all about like maybe even if you miss a shot once, okay, it's just like having a short memory and being like, okay, I maybe just like turned and shot too fast. I didn't see where she was. So it's really about like it sounds simple, but like finding where the goalie is. And once you make one fake, not just like preemptively like deciding I'm gonna fake high, shoot low, but like deciding as you fake high, seeing where she goes, and then just like finishing around her. And as simple as that sounds, it definitely gets like the nerves come into it. And so it's hard to like think of just like settling down and like taking your time to finish when you're just like in front of the net and you're in the national championship and you're like, all right, I gotta shoot. But yeah, I mean, she played a phenomenal game and you just as an attacker have to settle in to those shots and just like take your time finishing. So that's pretty much what we thought about for her. And for Madison Taylor, obviously she's a great attacker, and Sam did a phenomenal job just locking her down and really just controlling her throughout the game. And the rest of our defense, I think we were sending the slide very early to her. And as like when you do that, you really have to be connected on the backside and manage the other players that because now you're going to be man down once you send the slide. So being able to manage the backside, um, and that just like takes communication. So I think Sam did a phenomenal job on ball, and everybody else did a really good job off ball, protecting the middle and protecting Betty. So yeah.
What was it like touching the trophy for the first time? That must have been a great feeling.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, I think everybody was still just like in shock when the final whistle blew. But yeah, I mean, it's what each and every one of us dreamed about going to Carolina. And as a kid, I mean, for me, I was able to go to two of the championships when it was in Philly. And so I was able to see UNC win one. And to be able to achieve like that dream was just so surreal and incredible to be surrounded by all of my teammates. And this team truly, as I said before, is just like was such a special and incredible team and just filled with joy. And I couldn't have had it any other way. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you about a couple of teammates. The first one is Kate Levy, who was one of my favorite players this past season to watch. I know a lot of the talk in the media with her is her relationship with her mom, but as crazy as it sounds, I feel like not enough people talk about what an amazing lacrosse player she is and how she's earned really the right to be on your team and be a really good player. What is she like as a teammate, and what makes her a good lacrosse player from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean Kate's incredible. She's an incredible human being and an incredible player. And I think what makes her so amazing on the lacrosse field is her IQ and her hustle. She is easily one of the smartest players I've ever played with. And she just like knows where to be, knows what to do, and she does not play. She didn't play at all as a freshman. You know, she stepped up as a leader and really led herself, and she wasn't afraid to be like, "Hey guys, like." This is like I have an idea, this is something we should like think about. And I think that just like really took her game to the next level. And as I said before, like she just is a workhorse. She does all the little things that I mean, she easily should get so much more recognition than she does because she's just all over the field, you know, on the draw, then getting down to defense and playing great defense, getting calls turnovers, and just making an impact truly all over the field. And she just, as I said before, is just an amazing person, amazing player, and she's just a great teammate all around.
What was your reaction when Chloe Humphrey won the Terraton Award? Because I don't know how much of attention you paid to it, but there was some debate online whether if she should win it or not. I personally thought she should have won it just because her performance in the tournament was outstanding. Like you never see a freshman score that many goals in the Final Four, and just sort of the consistency that she had throughout the season two was incredible to watch. And I don't think that's going to be her last Terraton Award to win, in my opinion. But I just want to ask what your reaction was when she won it and what it's been like just watching her accomplish so many amazing things and breaking all those records as well.
Yeah, I mean, Chloe's just, she's unreal. She's literally the best lacrosse player in the country, and she deserves every single word she's gotten. You know, she is such a hard worker, and it obviously shows all over the field during the ride and all of the incredible goals she scores. You know, it's just like a lot of times she'll like be running down the field, and I'm like, all right, you know, she's got it. She goes through like four players, does a BTV. I'm like, yep, that's Chloe. Like it's just like incredible. And yeah, I mean to win that award as a freshman, which has never been done before, it's just so incredible. And I'm just so proud of her and everything that she has done. And she is just truly so deserving of every single award she's gotten. And I can't wait to play with her again and see everything that she does and accomplishes.
Well, let's talk about next season. Obviously, you're going to be a senior. You were a team captain last year, but what type of leadership do you hope to bring as a senior? Would you consider yourself more a vocal or lead by example type of player?
Um, Yeah, I think I definitely would say that I was more lead by example like my sophomore year and the beginning of my junior year. And as the season went on, I definitely became more vocal. So I would say I'm kind of like a mix of both. And I think this next year I'm gonna continue to just really try and work on being even more vocal. I think I do a good job of being vocal on the field, but being able to have more of a voice off the field as well. And just like really try to like grow that part of my game is something that I'm definitely working on for this next year.
Now, what are your team's goals, expectations for next year? I assume I know this answer already, but what's it going to take to win back-to-back championships? Because I've seen teams win championships before, but I feel like it's really hard to win back-to-back. And obviously, you guys, like, I know you're not satisfied with one. You want one more and another one after that.
Yeah. I think what we need to do this year is just like continue to stay humble and continue to stay hungry. I think that is what, as I've said, this podcast, like that is what had really made our team succeed this year. And I think just continuing to go into every game respecting our opponents and just thinking of one game ahead, not okay, the season starts, we want to win another natty. Obviously, that's the goal, and that's a goal of pretty much every team, But um I think it just truly will take all of us working hard competitively every day and just staying unsatisfied. And I know for myself as well as all of my teammates that I've talked to, we're still unsatisfied. I think even though obviously, we won a Natty, won ACCs. I think we still just all have a feeling that we need to prove to everyone and ourselves that like we can win those games by more, we can play harder, and I think just putting that all together is just what's gonna need to happen to be able to win again.
Do you think the stick check rule should happen?
Um, I
I
don't
hate it.
know.
I think it's fun. Like you're
I
taking fun out of
know.
the sport.
It definitely is fun. I like the celebrations. I was talking about it the other day and I was like, I feel like I'm gonna feel really awkward. Like after you score, I'm not gonna know what to do.
Yeah.
It just adds a like flair to the game that I like. But at the same time, it would definitely be less stressful for a lot of people to not have to have their stick checked after every goal. But um, yeah, I don't know. I think it would be weird without it, but
Yeah.
guess we'll see.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't get changed because it's sort of like a bat flip with baseball. Like if you
Mhm.
score a good goal, you should be able to celebrate. I think it adds like it helps promote the game a little bit too with some of that flair. So I hope it doesn't change, but we'll see obviously on that because I don't make the rules, unfortunately. And then have you met the freshmen yet for for next year?
Yeah, I've met a couple of them. I actually was just with one of our freshmen on Monday for the Inside Lacrosse camp. But yeah, I'm very excited for them to get on campus and start being Tar Heels, which will be awesome. But yeah, I'm super excited for this class to come in. They're all just like very hard workers, and I'm excited to see what's in store for them.
Have you ran into Delaney since the championship game? Because I know you said you worked out.
Yes, I have. I've seen her a couple of times,
I
but
assume you didn't bring it up, but that must be a
yeah.
little awkward.
No, I didn't. But yeah, she's great. She's a great person, great player. So
Awesome, awesome.
yeah.
Well, do you have any shout outs you want to give to any of your family members, teammates, anyone we hadn't mentioned in this interview? And I guess who should we have on the podcast next?
Um, yeah, I mean, just like shout out to like all my family and friends, and they are just incredible, and all my teammates. I think maybe like B-Dubs or Sam Forrest, two
Okay,
of our or Betty Nelson. Couple great teammates, but yeah, I mean, everybody on the team would be very excited to be on the podcast. So, yeah.
awesome. Well, Kylie, I just want to say thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate your time and obviously wishing you all the best for this summer. And I want to be one of many to congratulate you on winning the national championship. It was a lot of fun to watch as a fan. So, yeah, congrats on that. Best of luck next season and enjoy your summer.
Thank you so much.